Hello friends and welcome to Finance Logic YouTube channel. My name is Evgeny and let's do together 14 essential Microsoft Excel tricks with dates. You can download the file with the exercise in the description to this video, and let's begin. The first exercise, we have start date and we have number of days past, and we need to estimate end date. It's very simple. We just take start date and we need to add the number of dates that we need to move on, and we have 10th February. Next one, we have start date, we have end date, and we're interested in number of days between two dates. For example, we need to estimate amount of penalties for some period or interest or any kind like that. To estimate number of days, we just need to take end date and subtract start date. Of course, it's very important that all dates are presented in date format. We should get 12. Another way to do so is to use days function. We type days and we select end date and start date. And technically there is no difference with the previous method when we just take the difference between two dates. We get 12 again. Now let's work with working days. Here we have start date and we have number of working days to be passed, and we need to find end date. So what is the date that is exactly after 2 working days after 4th January 2024. So the function that we're going to use here is work day. We need to input start date. We need to input number of days, and by default, non-working days in Microsoft Excel are Saturdays and Sundays, as in the most countries in the world. But Excel doesn't know about additional non-working days in a specific country. That is why, if we have so, in most countries we have some additional non-working days, we have to let Microsoft Excel know about that. So here it's called holidays, but to be true, they are not holidays. They are additional non-working days except regular Sundays and Saturdays. And we need to input additional non-working days, which we need to type beforehand. So we have no additional non-working days. In my example, it's from 2nd January to 5th January, and as a result, if we pass 2 working days from 4th January, we get 9th of January, not 6th of January. This is exactly due to Sunday and Saturday and additional non-working days. If we in this function, by default, we treat all Saturdays and Sundays as non-working days. For many countries in the world, this is exactly what we need. But if your normal holidays are different from Saturday and Sunday, you need to use Workday International. Allows to change regular non-working days. So I'm going to type workday.intel, meaning international, start date, number of days to be passed, 2 days, and additional thing that I can select here is weekend. By default, it's Saturday and Sunday, but we can change it depending on our country and our local particularities. So as you can see, we can select from any 2 consecutive days, or we can select only one ordinary holiday. Let's keep it 1. Let's keep it Saturday and Sunday. And here again we need to input additional non-working days. They are called holidays. In fact, there are additional non-working days that we need to take into account, except for regular Saturdays and Sundays, regular weekend. we should get here the same result, 9th of January. And vice versa, we can estimate number of working days between two dates using function net working days. We need to input start date, we need to input end date, and we need to tell about additional non-working days. So there should be exactly 2 working days between 4th and 9th of January. Yes, that is true. And using the same way, we can apply net working days international, which allows to alter weekend. So we select start date, we select end date, we need to select appropriate option about our weekend. Let's keep it still 1. And additional non-working days. It should be 2. And, for example, we need to estimate number of working only Mondays and Wednesdays. So we don't need all working days between 4th of January and 28th of February. Actually, Excel knows about leap year, so where there are 29 days in February, Excel knows about it. You should not worry about it. So here we need to estimate number of working days, but only Mondays and Wednesdays. So what would be different? We type net working days international, start date, end date, and here, instead of selecting from many options that we have here, we open quotes. So instead of selecting from any option that we have, we open quotes, and here we need to type ones and zeros, where 1 means working, 1 means holiday, and 0 means working day that we need to count. So we need only Mondays and Wednesdays. That is why I'm going to type 0, it's Monday, then Tuesday. Tuesday I don't need to count, so it means that I need to input 1, then Wednesday, 0, and my remaining 4 days in the week should be non-countable, should be like a holidays in our example. That is why I'm going to input 4 consecutive ones, and this approach allows me to input any dates that I need to count. For example, if we need only Mondays, we need to type only first 0, and all our remaining parameters should be ones. And here our zeros are consistent with Monday, which is the first day in a week, and Wednesday, which is the 3rd day of our week. And don't forget about additional non-working days. So there are only 16 Mondays, working Mondays and Wednesdays between 4th of January and 28th of February. You can go to the calendar and check it, but don't forget to take into account that in our example we have specific additional non-working days. Let's keep further. Very simple and very useful function is a function today. For example, you need to use on a daily basis, you need to use current date to estimate number of days between some date in the past and your current date, to estimate fines, penalties, interest, whatever. This function does not require any input. It means that it's self-sufficient. We just type today, we open brackets and close it. And today is 9th of October of 2024. It is the date when I'm recording this video. And then, for some reason, I need to cut this date. I need to use number of year, number of months, and number of my day separately. And I can do it using function year, month, and date. Let me show you how it works. I type year, I refer to the date, and I should get 2024. You may get another result if your date is different from mine, from 9th of October of 2024. Function month returns serial number of a month in a specific date. And finally, function day returns number of days. So I should have here, I'm going to have here 9. It is useful when you need to work separately with the number of year, with number of months, or with number of your day. Let's continue with the next one. We have start date, which is 29 January 2024. We have 3 months to be passed. And we need to estimate end date of a month, which is after 3 months from our start date. For this purpose, we use the function that is called EO month, which means end of month. Our start date is 29 January. We need to pass 3 months, and that's all what we need. January, February, March, April. We are going to have April here, and this should be end of April, 30 of April. This is exactly what we need. If we don't need last date of a month, we just need to pass 3 months. We use function that is called eDate. That works in a similar manner, but it doesn't return end of the month. Our start date is 29 of January, and we need to pass 3 months, February, March, April. We should have here 29 of April. And for example, if I input here 31st January, and I tell that I need to have a date 3 months later, we are going to get 30 of April, because 31st of April doesn't exist. So Excel knows all about everything about our calendar, and it updates your result when it's necessary. The next one, we need to estimate fraction of year between 2 dates. It's very useful when you need to estimate, for example, interest payment that you have to pay for a certain period, depending on your annual interest rate. So we apply year frac function, we input start date, we input end date, and it allows to select basis. Depending on the area in which we work, it could be some financial instruments, some stock exchange, where there are several rules about how many days are in the month and how many days are in the year. We can select different options. If we need just to count number of days and fraction of the year based on actual number of days and 365 days in the year, or actual number of days that we have in 2024 and actual number of days in the year, we should use actual. So depending on our particular needs, we may alter our selection, but if we need just to take into account actual number of days, we select 1. It's actual number of days in the month and actual number of days in the year. Why do we have some different bases here? The reason is that for simplicity, sometimes we assume that there are always 30 days in the month. And usually we use this approach to estimate some discount for a particular financial instrument. So let's see what we have. We have 6%. It means that between 29th of January and 20th of February, the share, the portion of the year, is a little bit more than 6%. Then we need to multiply this fraction by annual interest to be paid, and we estimate interest for a specific period. And our final exercise is to construct a date when we have number of year, number of months, and number of day as an inputs. The function is called date, and few minutes ago we have separated from a particular date, we have extracted number of year, number of month, and number of day. And this exercise is 100% opposite, because here we need to gather together year, month, and date. So we use function that is called date. We input year number 2024. We input month number. And here we have, in my example, we have 16 as a number of months. We know that there are only 12 months in a year, but 16 number of months means that it is fourth month in the next year, in 2025. So if we input here any numbers above 12 or any numbers above 31 when we deal with dates, it means that Excel treats it as extra time that we need to pass further. So 16 months means 1 year and 4 months. And day. Day is 32. 32nd day means 1 month and 1, 2, or 3 days, depending on where we are in our calendar. So let's see what we have. We have here as a result 2nd of May of 2025. 2nd of May. So from year 2024, from beginning point of year 2024, we have passed 16 months. So it's an April plus 32 days. If we are in April plus 32 days, of course, we get 2nd of May. And that's all for today. Have a good business, and I wish you all the best.